A pleasant morning to everyone. We are the presenter team from the Our Lady of Fatima University in the Philippines, and we are excited to share with you our journey here at InstructureCon through a presentation entitled Leveraging Students' Learning via Smart Classes for Authentic Learning Experience High-Flex Model. My name is Dr. Caroline Marian S. Enriquez, University President. With me are Dr. Michael Dino and Ms. Maritz Chua, two of our dynamic educators. Our presentation today shall focus on three objectives. On trends, I will be sharing the backgrounder and our past experience, most especially during the challenging times of COVID-19 pandemic. Michael and Maris will be showcasing technologies, the instructional design model, and approaches that we have deployed. And under trajectories, our future plans and projections for the future of learning. We have faced a lot of challenges from the past months as we have struggled through the whole gamut of uncharted waters during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our journey thus far has been incredible. This pandemic has taught us how to become more resilient, agile, and innovative. As the common proverb states, crisis is the mother of innovation. It is the stimulus to further positive change. Every institution has challenges that are shaped by a lot of unique factors, including political, social, and economic environments. And many responses are affected by these factors. Our university is located in a developing country, the Philippines. The Philippines is known to be one of the highest producers of skilled workers locally and globally. During the pandemic, the country has an estimated 23 million households, 28 million students with 3.5 million at the tertiary level. Interesting though, the Philippines has the longest and the strictest lockdown during the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition, this has posed tremendous challenges to the higher education sector since access to stable internet connection, gadgets, and the funds for these are limited. Our Lady of Fatima is known as Olfu or simply Fatima. We have about 6 campuses all over the Luzon territory. It started as a nursing school in 1976. We are one of the country's autonomous universities and a recent PQA, Philippine Quality Award recipient, the highest recognition bestowed by the government institution. Initially, the university specialized in medicine and allied health programs, and currently it is now a comprehensive university with strong non-health programs and basic education. During these challenging times, the Philippine Commission on Higher Education emphasized that learning must continue. This was highlighted through memorandum from the Commission on Higher Education series of 2021, where it states that higher education institutions are mandated to implement flexible learning and teaching options, appropriate systems, pedagogies, and modalities. There were initial baby steps and attempts to recalibrate approaches to teaching in learning in reference to acceptable standards by the Department of Health. We submitted and supported the call for learning continuity and became a benchmark in the Philippines for the gradual and safe reopening for the classes face-to-face. We are the first private higher education recipient of face-to-face clearance and recognition from the government. We also went through a series of phases as patterns of responses for online learning, especially during the COVID pandemic, as postulated by Mindwave. It is a good move that we have subscribed to a learning management system, the Canvas, prior to the pandemic. The LMS served as the backbone of our TLA, teaching, learning, and assessment delivery. We explored several ways on how we can deliver teaching and learning through a variety of blended learning strategies. We piloted different scenarios and identified current and relevant best practices. Depending on the unique requirements of the program, we initially continued and combined both synchronous and asynchronous learning, then later on utilized both in-person and virtual modalities. In implementing our plans and model, our model focuses on the three P's, or the people, processes, and product as elements of success with 9 sub-areas of concerns. The 9 sub-areas of concerns were grouped into TLC, teachers, learners, and collaborators. Under people, we reviewed the needs of our teachers, learners, and collaborators. Then we had communication with our clients. Thus, it's a TLC. In the process category, we revisited our teaching learning approaches and mechanisms of communication with our clients. TLC again. And under the product, we focused on technology, location or geography, and individual contexts and needs of our campuses. TLC. Data and research are also important as we moved forward. Knowing our learners would entail understanding their needs and technological competencies as recipients of our instructions. We found out that a big number of our students are only using smartphones as devices with moderate internet connection and always to offer online. We tailor-fitted the TLAs to these requirements. Also, part of the initiative of the university is the development of learning continuity plans or documents for standardization and quality reassurance, as well as continuous assessments. At this juncture, I would like to call on and introduce Ms. Maris Chua, the head of our ELITE team, the ELITE Center, to talk about our FLEX approach. Maris, take it away.
Thank you so much to our dear university president. I am Marisa G. Chua, the head of the EdTech Center of our university. Our university has pioneered a system and model of teaching, learning, and assessment strategies during the pandemic known as the GoFlex. Flex, which means flexible learning, and Fatima learning experience. This is a recalibrated approach for synchronous and asynchronous activities. It is our tender loving care solution to education in the Philippines. What makes it unique is our approach to differentiate and deploy several modes and interaction, including directive, supportive, and interactive typologies with various interactions occurring at different levels. Our learners interact with content, with our educators, and with their peers and classmates. This enabled us to develop an overarching simulacrum and model defining the main themes and emphasis in our FLEX approach. This model is an amalgamation of both education and service-centered procedures guided by the pillars of social responsibility, good governance, research, and innovation. We also develop our smart classrooms, tagged as the smart classrooms for authentic learning experience or scale. Using a locally developed device, we can stream lectures and skills demonstrations in our laboratory. We also have the capacity to bring our facilities to students' homes through these innovations. Coupled with the power of the Canvas learning management system, learners have prior access to checklists, rubrics, and skills procedure. We are also able to demonstrate important skills using the smart classroom technology. The current pandemic has forced educational institutions, including us, to redesign and redeliver our content. According to Parker in 2013, says that there's no one best way to redesign and deliver a course. The key is to achieve fit in every unique situation. Using our model, LMS, and smart classroom, we successfully predicted the right amount of percentage that should be allotted for synchronous and asynchronous activities. And that is 70% for independent learning or utagogy, and 30% of instructor presence in a synchronous mode for every course. Utagogy is the science of self-determined learning. It was also important that the LMSs are only good as how you build them for teaching, learning, and assessment. In the learning process, we focus on three important areas, such as experience, content, and outcome. There is also a need to introduce the concept of adequate content to students because we don't want our students to be overwhelmed. So it is a Latin phrase which means not many, but much, and quality over quantity. In an online learning, one of the biggest challenges is how to make our students engage in the learning process. A lot of studies are telling us that disengagements and dropouts are common to flexible courses. To heighten student engagement, it is important for us teachers to know its anatomy, the secret formula, and these are summarized in these slides. Based on a lot of theories in teaching and learning, student engagement has several dimensions, and it occurs in three levels: behavioral, affective, and cognitive. To improve student engagement online and facilitate the best learning experience, we should remember caput, core, and manus, or mind, heart, and hands, or focusing on stimulating cognitive and effective learning and making our students active in flexible learning, or highlighting the value, learning, interest, and participation. We identified three formula in engagement. So the first is cognitive. We need to understand that the ultimate goal of instruction is student learning. Students are more engaged in the course if they are actually learning from us, their teachers. Therefore, it is important to provide maximum learning for stimulating their senses and doing constructive repetition. As the Chinese proverb would say, tell me I might forget, show me I might remember, involve me and I understand. In the cognitive engagement, teachers must always ensure that students have high interest in the course. We always need to infuse joy and excitement in an online activities. Teachers must not be flat and monotonous. We must be unpredictable in terms of what our students will expect from our teaching methodology. Another formula in engagement is behavioral. Teachers should ensure that students are involved and active in the learning process. We should develop online activities that will make them participate, not just to listen to what we are saying. Remember, quality instruction places the students at the core and center stage. In addition to teaching and learning, we also refined our students' assessments. And here to discuss assessments and our ways to move forward, let me give the virtual floor to Dr. Michael Joseph Dino, the Director of our Research Development and Innovation Center.
This is Dr. Michael Joseph Dino, the Director for Research Development and Innovation Center. The virtual learning environment also poses a lot of issues in student assessments. And as educational institutions, we would like to advance academic integrity in our assessments. So what we did is we evaluate online tests and assessment scores to build our new pool of assessment questions and activities. We also give badges to our students to recognize their individual achievements and accomplishments. These badges can be shared by the students in their social networking sites. Again, if we want our students to be more hooked to online learning, we must master the arts and science of teaching in these three areas: behavioral, affective, and cognitive. And we call it the hand, the heart, and the mind, or from the usual philosophy, caput cor manus. Our students' holistic experience is not only limited to teaching, learning, and assessment. Universities must also consider giving technology and support for well-being, including mental health. Educators must also foster a sense of community, even in virtual or flexible modes. Taking these things into account, we offer the following services: our university online concierge. We also publish lookbooks and conducted resilience and mental health webinars. Considering that innovation is a lifelong process and that learning will never be the same again even after the pandemic in this new normal, let me share to you some of the current strategies that we are piloting and testing at the moment. We are also moving forward to integrate virtual, augmented, and mixed reality through our Flex VR and AR, or augmented reality and virtual reality. This would mean that students using their devices can see virtual anatomical models and even virtually dissect anatomical parts. Universities like us are now investing in developing technologies whose main structure is the fusion of the virtual and physical world known as the metaverse. We are now exploring on the possibility of mimicking the function of certain simulators in the virtual spaces and the metaverse. This would include the use of mobile devices, such as their smartphones, to project standardized virtual patients through virtual or augmented reality. Another promising approach is the development of virtual humanoids or HTs. It will provide limitless possibilities where users can socially interact with human resembling technologies for education, research, and practice. HTs can be programmed to be available in the virtual world through students' smartphone devices, cameras, VR, or head-mounted displays. It is a low-cost alternative to physical simulators, and the cost is 60% lower than the average high-fidelity simulators. Currently, it is one of the approaches being explored by the university. Indeed, extraordinary situations call for extraordinary solutions. And of course, extraordinary educators.